What is up, guys? It is Tony here, and today we are looking at something really random, and to be honest, I'm not even sure what this video is. I'm not even sure what's going on right now. Basically, as you guys know, every Tuesday I do Tony Talks, and I talk about random stuff over gameplay. But today I have no gameplay. I'm very busy with my classes, but I do want to do a video still. I know there's a lot of people out there who like these videos and like seeing them every week. And I just thought to myself, what's on my mind right now? What's been going on lately that I could talk about? And to be honest, there's not a lot. I mean, I already talked to you guys about my classes and school and things like that. I talked to you guys about CES. I talked to you guys about, of course, PAX Boston coming up soon. So there's not much for me really to talk about. So I started really digging in there and thinking. And one thing that's actually been on my mind a lot lately that some of you guys might be interested in is these things right here. Not specifically any of these, but just cars in general. There's kind of an interesting story that goes with, cars and me and my interest in cars over time. And for anyone out there who has any interest in cars or doesn't have any interest in cars, I think this will be very interesting. So stick with me. This is kind of like a slideshow. I have images here just to talk about a few things. But yeah, this is a very experimental, weird video. Don't worry. This is not how every week's going to be from now on. Seriously, just don't worry. Just watch this, please, and bear with me. So here's the dealio. As you guys probably know, I am 19 years old, and I started driving when I was 17. I got my permit when I was 17, which was, a little bit late, to be honest, but that's mainly because I didn't have a car. I had no reason to get a permit early on. Well, I probably did. I probably should have got it just so I could learn. But I kind of got a little lazy with that, and eventually, once I got it, I also got a car. My first car was a 2004 Chevrolet, which is where we're going to switch to this image, Chevrolet Malibu, which is kind of a weird sounding name. I think it sounds kind of gay, but it's actually a pretty cool car. The Malibu is a very lightweight Chevy. Most people in Europe would probably call it a heavy car, but it's a lot lighter than most sedans. It is a sedan, which means it's 4 doors, and it has a 4-cylinder engine. You can get a V6 in it, 6 cylinders, which gives you a lot of horsepower for that size, which means that the engine pretty much just overpowers the size of it, so you get really good acceleration. But I had just a standard 4-cylinder, and I liked it. It was a really cool thing for me to finally have my first car. Now, the thing you guys need to know about my first car is that I had a lot of reluctance going into driving in general. I was very nervous about it. I always said to myself that I'm just going to ride the bus my whole life. I'm talking about when I was much younger. So I had a lot of reluctance going into driving because I was just fearful of accidents. My family had a couple accidents that were pretty bad. My father had a couple herniated discs in his spine, and his car was totaled once, and it just scared me as a younger kid. But once I finally sat down and learned how to drive, I was very nervous at first, but now I'm like addicted to it. Now I love driving. It's just something I do for fun. Sometimes I'll just, middle of the night, start up my engine and just drive around town for no reason. It's something that I've really taken to for some reason. I don't know what it is. I think it happens to a lot of people when they first start driving. They really just become, mesmerized by it. But basically, right now I am driving a Chevy Impala, which is right here. And the reason why I put the Chevy logo up is because I want to just mention that our family is like a Chevy family right now, which is kind of important to this whole story, this whole group of pictures we're going to go through. We all have Chevys, and my grandfather has had Chevys for a long time. Now, it doesn't mean that we've always had Chevys, because recently he had a Hyundai. He had, I don't think he had a Honda. I think he had a Hyundai, and in the past he's had Ford. It's not like we're full-on Chevy, but right now we're full-on Chevy. Mainly because the safety ratings are really high on the Chevys right now in America, which means you get better insurance policies. And also because there's just been good deals recently. That's the main reason. I mean, that's usually what it comes down to 9 times out of 10. But I do love Chevy. I do love what they make. And I really do like what the brand stands for. And I, there's just a lot of things I like about it. Now, I have an Impala, which is a car that's really, to be honest, a great car, especially for someone who's only been driving for a little over a year now. It's a very nice newer car. This isn't my car, by the way, but it's very similar. But it's also not like it's just a very normal get from A to B type of car, and it's very reliable, and I love it. But, I've been debating in my head whether I should upgrade, change over, and that's what this video is mainly about. So, the Impala is a 6-cylinder sedan, so it's a bump up from the Malibu, but it's a little bit heavier as well, but has more space, consequently. It's pretty fast. It's fun to drive, but it's automatic, and it's not the fastest, and it doesn't really have all of the cool features. But once again, I'm very lucky to have it. So, me trying to put, because I got this car from my family, and me trying to push to get my own car this early is kind of upsetting to a lot of people. But I mainly just want to do it because I have the money now. I think it's a smart investment, but I'm just debating about it, which is why I'm making this video. Maybe you guys can give me some feedback, if any of you guys know a lot about cars, what you think is a good choice for what I want. Now, what I want out of a car is something that gets good mileage and also is fun to drive, which is sometimes a bit of a push and pull type of thing. The reason why I want something that's fun to drive is because I'm young. I'm not a risky driver for the most part, but I'm young and I don't have the responsibility of having to, buy groceries every week or lug around kids. And I want to enjoy that while I have it. I mean, that's usually what most people do. I also want something that's a little bit more on the affordable side, obviously, because I don't have a lot of money right now. But I'm just thinking about over the next year possibly saving up to get a new car. So one choice that I've actually been debating about and thinking about is just simply doing this, which many of you guys might go, what's the difference here? Well, this is an Impala, once again. It's the same thing as this, except it has a little badge there that says SS. And the reason why it says SS is because that means Super Sport, which means it has a V8 engine, which gives you an extra, I think it's about 20 horsepower, which isn't a lot. It's not a lot at all. But it wouldn't cost much for me to trade in and upgrade to this. And it would give me a lot more excitement out of the car. And, I already like how the Impala feels all around. So it's one choice I've been thinking about. I've also been thinking about this, which is the Cobalt from Chevy SS, which actually doesn't have a V8, doesn't even have a V6 in it. It has a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. So when you put a turbo onto the engine, you get a lot more power for what it is. And this is a very light car. It's a coupe, as in it has 2 doors instead of 4. So this car can really haul. And the concept of this car kind of led me to be more open-minded to other cars, which we'll get to in a second. But my family, I was talking to them about it, and they said that I should probably wait a couple years, maybe just a year, and just go ahead and take out a huge loan, which is something I've been doing a lot with school, and I don't know if I want to take on more loans that are massive, and just get a new car, like the 2014 Impala, which is a pretty cool car, and that's a choice, of course. I could think about that. It's basically just a very modernized version of my car that has a lot of really cool features in it that almost make it feel like it's a Cadillac, which is crazy for what you pay. But the thing about this car is, once again, it has a V6. In fact, it has a toned down V6 that's a little bit more fuel efficient, which isn't really what I want, even though I do want fuel efficiency. So here's another choice, which is a little bit outlandish. This is the Chevy SS, which is basically just, no name, it's just SS, Super Sport. It has a V8. It's a really cool little sedan that's basically like the Impala SS, but it's a newer model. So that's one choice I've been thinking about. And of course, if I'm talking about V8s, you could go ahead and talk about the Camaros, which are pretty cool as well. But honestly, I don't think I want a muscle car, to be fair, for multiple reasons. One, I just want something that's a little more practical, and maybe has a bit more space and is a sedan. I like the idea of having a sedan, or a coupe that's more sedan-like, if that makes sense, like the Cobalt. So, talking about all of these Chevys recently, I mentioned it to Nick a couple times, and Nick sort of went, no, don't do that. Get one of these, he kind of said. He said, look at Subarus, because Nick's a big Subaru guy. He has a Loyale, which is pretty badass. So a Loyale is I'm not going to get into that. It's a much older Subaru, but it's a classic, that's for sure. But anyway, so he started telling me, look into STIs, which are basically Subaru Impreza WRXs that are just souped up, and you get a really nice turbo in there. It's 4-cylinder, and they haul. I mean, they can take out a lot of V6s and even V8s if you tune it well enough. Which is cool because I don't know the in and outs of it entirely. Like I said, I'm not a big car guy, but it sounds to me like you could tune a Subaru to be very fuel efficient if you wanted to at times, and then you can also tune it to be more racy if you wanted it to. So you can tune back and forth. It may be a little bit of hassle to do that, but that's actually a really cool benefit. Not to mention that it has pretty decent space in it. I mean, obviously it's not extremely large, so you're not going to fit a lot of people in the back seat or anything like that, but at least it has space to put stuff, unlike, say, a Camaro, going back to that. But yeah, the Subaru was actually a really interesting choice to me. At first I was kind of denying it. I was like, nah, I don't want that Asian, it's kind of racist, but not really, Asian car. But then I kind of said, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty compelling, and I like the look of it for sure. But then another Subaru that stood out to me that I was considering for a second was the BRZ, which is basically a less powerful than the STI version. What am I talking about? A less powerful car than the STI. It's a Subaru, but it's a coupe, which I kind of like coupes because, I don't know, I just feel like it more fits the style I'm looking for. But then again, there's the space problem. But it's also a car that has really good... what's the word? It has rear-wheel drive, and it may be a little bit more fun to drive. But I don't know. I think if I had to choose a Subaru, it'd probably be the STI. So I don't know. But that's just one thing I've been looking into. Another thing I've been looking into is the opposite of Subaru in a way. The other side, which is Mitsubishi, which offers a competitor to the STI, which is the Evo. And I saw some really nice Evo, which is basically a Lancer version of the Lancer, which is a Mitsubishi car that has a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, has Brembo brakes, just like the STI, really nice sport brakes and things like that, Recaro seats, and, it's sort of the competitor to the STI. These go head-to-head a lot, but a lot of people say that the Evo has a little bit of an edge on the STI, at least in the years I'm looking at, which is 2008, 2009, and there's some good pricing on these things, so I was kind of thinking about that. I thought that was an interesting choice. It's a good driver's car. Also, the Mitsubishi has a paddle shifter version, which the STI does not in the years I'm looking at, which is pretty cool. I'd rather have paddle shifters, to be honest, than a clutch. I know some people think that's, wrong or sacrilegious or whatever, but that's just my personal opinion. Also, I really like the design of the thing. I'm not even sure. I don't think this is the 2008 one, but it's maybe a little bit later. But really, just the design of it. It looks like an angry... I don't even know. It kind of reminds me of like an angry lizard. It's pretty cool. I love the design of it. Then, as I was looking at these cars, like I said, I found some good pricing. As I started looking online, one car that popped up and just happened to be really well priced was this car. Which, to me, is like, if I bought this, I'd pretty much just get a lot of hate. But actually, to be honest, this car is pretty practical. This is the Porsche Cayman S. This is 2007. This is a very practical car because it actually has a lot of space, great mileage. It's a fun car to drive, has a lot of power for its weight, very well balanced, very precise. I mean, this car pretty much hits it on all notes for me, and it's actually priced at a reasonable price from what I've seen. But the one problem that Nick kind of brought up to me is that if I buy a Porsche, that it's going to cost a lot to repair, even the smallest thing. And most of these cars aren't under warranty anymore. So that was a big bummer. But, yeah, so this is like the last car that I've been looking at lately, and I've been kind of going back and forth between this, this. Here, I'll do it again. This a little bit, and also just waiting and getting something like this, maybe something a little more modern, or maybe even like the new version of the Evo or something like that. But those are basically the choices I've been going through. I also added these in here because these are actually two cars I've been looking at, mainly because compared to compared to the Camaro, where's Camaro? I feel like this car, for example, is actually pretty practical compared to the Camaro in terms of space and mileage and things like that. The Challenger's just in here because I think it's awesome. I think it's the design of it's awesome, but in terms of practicality, well, first off, it's very bad mileage. Second off, it's terrible at handling. And fourth off, it's really not even that fast. So there's a lot of downsides to the Challenger, but it's still an awesome looking car. You have to give it that. But anyway, I know this is a very random video. It's a little bouncing back and forth. It's probably very long. It's 15 minutes so far. But I just really wanted to do a video of Tony Talks this week. I didn't really have any content to talk about, so I thought, let's just put something up. Who cares if it's bad? I don't know if this is bad or not. Tell me below. But also, I thought maybe some people would be interested in cars, because I've never really brought up cars before, I don't think. And I know there's definitely a fan base out there for, car videos and things like that. I'm not planning on making this a car channel in any way. I mean, if I ever get a car, I might consider doing a review of it. But yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and like and comment, of course. And also, please, this is the thing I'm trying to get out of this, comment below your opinions on these cars you've seen, suggestions on cars you may have owned or may have driven that you think are good choices in this price range that you've seen across the board here. And also just, general thoughts on all this stuff. But that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. We'll have some more actual decent content coming up later this week, so don't worry. But that is pretty much it. I will see you guys next time.